All right, welcome back everyone to the book club for outstanding user interfaces with Shiny Book. And today we are going to talk about Shiny Mobile and the Progressive Web App Framework. This is chapter 24. And the reason why the PWA or Web Framework or Progressive Web Apps are needed is because we want a full screen support when the app is available on the cell phone or on the tablet. We want the apps to be installable and we want the app to work offline. Obviously, this will be limited because most of what you do with Shiny, if it is interfacing with an external database, it would not work offline. But it could work if the data is available in the app directly with a simple dashboard, then most probably the offline capability would also work. But we want all three things to work, and that can only be possible when you have the progressive web application. So in this chapter, we're going to see how to convert the work in progress Shiny Mobile package to a PWA capable package. Here, the chapter mentioned that some of the PWA features do not work with iOS, and one of those is the install prompt, which is discussed at the very end of the chapter. So to make any application as a progressive web app, you need to have these four things. You need to have a manifest, and this is a JavaScript file. Actually, no, this is not a JavaScript file, but it is related to some of the JavaScript files as I understand it. The name of the file is manifest.webmanifest. We also need a service worker. Service workers are used in web applications, and they actually help making the app offline and to run them as standalone apps in, for example, cell phones, tablets, and so on. We also want icons that show up in the title of the tab if it is open in a desktop browser, and icons when the app is installed, like other app icons that you see on your phone as well as on the tablets. And we also want offline fallback. So if your user is offline, then when they open the app, it should still show something. So we need these four things, and the chapter show us how to implement all of these. So the first step here, they show running the app in this preview screen. Currently, if you recall from the previous discussion that we had so far, we do not have the capability to show the app in a screen like this, like in a cell phone or a tablet screen. Although with Shiny Mobile version 2 that is available on CRAN, you can actually preview using any screen. So if we go to Shiny Mobile, Shiny Mobile R, and we go to reference, and there is a function preview. So the preview mobile function allow you to uh, provide any type of device here, and it will then show your Shiny Mobile app inside that screen, which is very useful, especially when you're demoing this to your client. But unfortunately, we don't have that in the Shiny Mobile package that we have developed so far. So we cannot do what the chapter shows here. But the reason why this screenshot is shown is to just show us that we do not have the manifest, we don't have service workers, and so on. So let me show you what that looks like. So I have this Shiny Mobile 5 folder. If I go to Shiny Mobile and I'm going to open the previous one, um, this is what we were at the end of the previous session. So we'll give it a few seconds to load, and I'm going to load this app. Actually, this is not the section I'm looking for. It should be here. Um, I'm going to load the package, and then let's look at this app. Open the app here in Chrome. Okay, so this is the last thing that we saw. Um, and yeah, here is the bottom of the browser. Let me close Firefox. Okay, and if we inspect it and we go to the application tab, here we see that it says no manifest detected, and it also shows us that there are no service workers. So this is where we are currently with this version of the Shiny app. I'm going to close this, and we are now in this new version, and I don't have a step-by-step parts of the package for today. I have done everything that the chapter did except for a few sections. And if I run this one, it will actually show the service worker. So I'm not going to show that now. I will show it momentarily.
Yeah, then because it's the were just JavaScript. Oh, instead that in the middle, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So here they also show that if we go to Lighthouse, the Lighthouse tab, it will have this option progressive web app, but unfortunately, if we are not previewing it and using this screen, this option does not show up. So all it shows is these other options, which are not relevant for this chapter. But the goal of this screenshot in the chapter was to show us that we don't have the capability for PWA at the moment. So now we are going to use sharpen day again, and we are going to use set underscore PWA function. So in that case, what I did was I ran load all, loaded the Shiny app, and that showed what we saw just yet previously. And as I mentioned, Lighthouse option for PWA did not show up. Um, in the next step, we need to, as the chapter mentions, we need to use the set underscore PWA function to start creating the app or converting the app into a PWA. And the requirement here is that the app must be in a package. So it is in our case, and the function must target the app directory. So in this case, the app directory is an example app, which the chapter also gave us. And if I go to my files within inst folder, examples, PWA app, I have this app.org, which is a very simple app. We'll see what this means in a moment. But the UI is the same. It doesn't change. It's the same as before. Um, and we also have this www folder, which contains the icons that we want, the manifest, the offline page, and the service worker. So this happens only after we run this command. In the chapter, they start with simply running set underscore PWA. Let's see. Yeah, so they mentioned running that. But if you run this, and you do not specify this option register service worker equals false, then it will register a service worker. It will create the service dash worker.js file. Actually, it always creates this file, but there's another one that it does not create. Uh, Let me get that. It's in src.js, this one. So sw-register.js, this file is not created if we run this command. Set PWA, the directory where our app is, and register service worker equals to false. So if we run this, first requirement is that there should be an example app and it should be done inside a package. So we need to put the app inside inst. And if we say register service worker equals false, it will not create this file. And this is what they recommend. Um, they say that in case of shinyMobile, this is not needed because Framework 7 also has its own service worker. But when I tried it with running this part and going without the sw-register.js, the service worker never registered for me, although I followed all other instructions. But after I reran it and included this file, then the service worker did work. This code that we see here, this is not generated when this file is generated for us. So I just copied and pasted it from here. And all it does is it's using an event listener that looks for the name of the listener is load, and the function that it's running is it's checking if service worker is in Navigator, and I'll show you in a few moments where this is coming from. And then it essentially applies this piece of code to register the service worker. And it requires that service worker.js file from the example app folder. All right, so that was about starting to create the PWA requirements using the set underscore PWA function. Here they further discuss these steps in detail. So when we create the manifest in the app example that we have, since we target this folder, it generates this www folder and it generates the manifest.web manifest, which has some fields that we can change. This is the default that you see. So here is the name, the short name, the description of the app, and so on. There are some shortcuts here as well, which also have their own section that we'll see in a moment. Then there are these icons, and these are the icons that are generated by default. So for example, this is the icon shortcut. This is another icon, and then this is for Apple devices, and so on. We can also add more icons here for other types of devices if needed. Then we have offline.html. So in this case, it is a very simple file that basically shows, let me also open this in the browser. So this is what it shows. It shows offline page, and if we want to show any links to external pages or links that we have included in our offline example, and welcome to the offline page and reload. So if we click reload and you are online again, then you'll get to the correct app page. And next is the service-worker.js. This is the main service worker that we need for the PWA to work. Okay, so once that is done, we can now run the app. So if I run it here, in this case, I am running it in a specific port, and then let's see. So this is with the default settings that use the dark equals to true, as you recall from the previous discussion. And this is what we see. Um, this is related to one section in the chapter that talks about the shortcuts. So with shortcuts, we can do something like this. So this is the domain of our Shiny app. And if we provide it with additional parameters, then we can actually get those parameters from the URL and do an action or trigger an event based on what we have in the parameter. In this example, they say that parameter is foo equals 1. And here within observe event, they are checking from the session object client data URL search. So this will get the complete URL. And then using the parse query string function from Shiny, we get all parts of this URL. Actually, the query string of the URL. So once we have the query, which means that we now have foo equals 1, we can then do anything with it. In this case, they create a notification, just like the notification we saw pops up at the top. Again, just to remind you, f7 underscore notif function is not implemented in our version of the package. So this is not going to work. So I just changed it um, within app.r. So I just changed it to just print this. Now, since the app is running, I'm going to open the app here in Chrome. And if I add the query parameter, then we don't see any change here, but we should see the print foo equals to 1 working. So you can see that there could be different applications depending on what query parameter you add. It could show a different tab, a different functionality of the Shiny app. Uh, there's no limit to what you can do here. All right, next. They also mentioned the icons, as I mentioned before. You need to have icons for once you install the app, then those icons will appear on your cell phone or tablet. So it's important to have those icons. So when we run the set underscore PWA function, it also created this file for adding the PWA dependencies. So we have two files actually. Let me go there. So we have within the R folder, there is PWA-dependencies and PWA compat-dependencies. So it generates this thing, and this is where within the head section of our app, the icons and the manifest are added. So without this function, the manifest and icon information won't be added to the app. So this is the reason why this is created. And the PW compat is basically getting, in this case, the CDN for PWA compat, and that adds this PWA compat.min.js.
I was checking the compa repo and it's archived already. They did in August.
Okay,
It seems like Google, yeah, it was a repo from Google Labs. And
yeah.
basically, they are not being supporting that anymore. It
Mhm.
seems like everybody should use Chrome because that's like Chrome Lincoln.
Yeah,
like okay, they might know, give more support for Safari or something like that.
Mm,
So yeah, if someday you see that doesn't work for some reason, the worker, you know that you need to ask people to use Chrome, because this
yeah, good
is
point. I think chapter also mentions they also provide a link and they say that regularly check there are updates to the compatibility on the Google page. And so
yeah. I
we
went
need
to
to
that
follow
link,
that.
and that's the point. It was archived like 2 months
Yeah.
ago.
Mm. Yeah, this is the section where it mentions that.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
So
um, yeah. So here they show that function create underscore dependency, PWA compat, and within options, within sharp NT options, instead of bundle equals to false, it should actually say local equals to false.
yeah,
Uh,
that's all code.
yeah.
Bundle doesn't exist in that option.
Yeah. And so it will then download the dependency, and this is
Hmm.
what it looks like
Yeah.
currently. Okay, so and then we also need to change the F7 page because now we have that dependency, so we need to add that right here, which I have already done. So in my package, so I have all four dependencies here. These were the two that we have seen in the previous session, and now we also have these two. Okay. Um, yeah, so now if we look at the head section of our app, it should show us these dependencies. So if I run that again, let's first go back to instructions and see if I'm missing anything. Um, we also see that we have that icon showing up in the tab. And now looking at the head section, we'd be able to see those dependencies. So we have the Shiny dependency, Framework 7, shinyMobile. We now have the manifest here. We have the icons. We have the CDN for PWA compat. And that's why we are now able to show that icon here. And the other dependencies are included. So in this just part of the discussion, they mentioned that even though we have added all of that, we still miss the service worker as shown in the manifest diagnostic. So if you look at the manifest diagnostic, it would still be missing. In our case, it should actually work. If I'm not missing anything, go to application. Yeah, so in our case, you can see the service worker is running. That's because I have already done the step that they mentioned. So in this case, they mentioned that the service worker and offline page, we need to make modifications to the service worker file. If I go to our example app and open the service-worker.js, it has three sections. It has an install part, then activate, and then fetch. Fetch should be right here. And I tried to understand this, but I wasn't very successful. Uh, there is a lot going on here, but the three main steps are to first install that service worker, install every dependency that we have here, and then activate it, and then within the fetch section, we get this navigate part. And this is what is called here, which I previously mentioned that if this is not provided, then even though chapter claims it should work, Framework 7 has its own service worker, it did not register this service worker. So I had to add this. So after all of this is added, we are now ready to build. If I go back here, we are now ready to build the JS. So we need to do this, which we very frequently did in our previous discussion. So once we run this, the JS dependencies and the service worker are registered, and then now we are ready to run our app again. And so as I showed, uh, the service worker is showing up. So if we go to manifest, it now shows us more information here. I do see these errors, and I looked up these errors. Here they say Richard PWA install UI won't be available on desktop. Please add at least one screenshot with the form factor set to wide. And all it means is that this is not actually an error. This is a warning, and it's just a suggestion actually by the browser to add a screenshot when your app is launching. Then for that section, there should be a screenshot. That's what I understand based on what I found from the search results. So this is not really something that's interfering with anything we are doing in this chapter. And within the service worker, we have the install, activate showing up here, which tells us, and also the green circle here, it tells us that the service worker is running. So that means if we make it offline and then I refresh the page, we go to the offline page. And now if we are back online, reload, we are back to the main part of our app. Let's see what part is missing. Yes, so we have previously created and modified the init.js several times, which was within src.js folder. And at the end of the previous chapter, it mentioned to modularize the JS code, which I did not do previously and also not this time. I just used the same file and added the modified configuration, which is right here. This is the only new part that is added to the previous file. And what we are doing here is we are creating a new variable called is PWA. And within the body, we are checking data-PWA equals true. This part is now added to our F7 page. So we need to make that modification. Do I have that open? Right here. So this part is added to our body section right here. This line is added, and this is added here because we want to make this available as a parameter to anyone using the shinyMobile package. In the actual shinyMobile package, within shinyMobile options, we have the option to either say allow PWA equals to true or false. The default value there is false, but we can make it true and then it will add all those dependencies. So that's why this line need to be there. And once it is there, we can now look for it. And if this is true, then we change our configuration. We say that the service worker within the configuration should have this path, window.location.path name plus service worker.js. So we are basically adding the file service worker.js, and this is the scope. So with these few lines, we are now providing our user, the user who is using the shinyMobile package, or the developer, I should say, who is using the shinyMobile package to create their own app and whether to use allow PWA or not. So they have the choice to do that. If we don't want that and we want to always add allow PWA, then we don't need to use the if statement. We just directly provide config.service worker. So we will always have this, and the PWA dependencies will always be added. So that was the discussion, and we have already seen the offline fallback. And another important thing is that once everything is there, the app is now installable. But this will only work if the app uh, is deployed somewhere. So if it is deployed and we open the app in Chrome, we can actually install it from there. Or you can install it once you visit the app on your Safari browser or on Chrome browser in your Android device. So then it will be installable. So let's see. Yeah, so there's a section handle the installation part. I did not added this in the package, but these are several steps that lets your user, or it actually makes your a user-friendly way for your users to install the app. But this only works for Windows or Android. It doesn't work for iOS. And these are just different snippets of JavaScript that you need to add. Uh, and it's essentially using app.utils from Framework 7 for making it user-friendly for your user to install. Um, and here is one example. I actually ran it. I don't see the installable option uh, for this. I don't know what was the purpose of this example because I could not install the app. I did not have any option to do that. But at the end, they mention shiny.pwa, which is a very good package, and it doesn't really require you to do any of this. It is a very simple package, and you can convert any Shiny app, not just shinyMobile, any Shiny app into a PWA compatible app. So all you need to do is after installation, you just need to use the PWA function, and it should be able to make your app installable. And there's this example here as well. If I open it, so I already installed this app, and that's why you can see it says here in Chrome, open an app. The first time you visit, it says install the app. So if I open it in app, it will open like this. So similar to a Windows app. And it also pins it to your taskbar and also makes a screenshot, sorry, not a screenshot, a shortcut on your desktop. So it works on Windows, and I think it also works on cell phones, but I did not try it on cell phones. So this is pretty useful, I think, outside of shinyMobile as well. So that's it. I think I don't think I missed anything. Let's see. Instructions. Yeah, that was everything.
Yeah, perfect. Representation. I was thinking about the Chinese mobile, and I'm thinking that when you have a page using that, your app basically is only thing about cell phone part. Like you are deploying one URL, and I don't know what we can do in order to make available in both sites. Like, okay, you are developing the UI for the mobile, but maybe people also want to see it in a desktop computer because it's normal. I think that Shiny Mobile doesn't have a easy way to do that in that sense. It's
Yeah,
just like
I agree. I think for like you can use the tablet view, uh, which is good for larger screens, but for desktop, it doesn't really look that great. Um, yeah, so I think with BSLib, if you don't care about other options like offline support and PWA support, then with BSLib, you can actually make responsive design and it will work great on any screen size. If you don't worry about offline support, then I think you're good with BSLib.
Yeah, I think that should be like, unless that you really need to have the application and have offline capacity that we don't know. I don't know yet how to configure that, like in detail, like
Mhm.
what part will be running, because at the end, what the part will be running is Noir, will be JavaScript.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe
Or
the
you need
offline
to
capacity.
create two versions of the app. So one for the desktop and one for smaller screens, but that's not easy to maintain.
No, no, because you will have two servers
Yeah.
and two repos for the servers. And if not, you don't have two codes unless you have two independent UIs and
Mm.
two different domains, or support domains. Like, okay, this is version one, version two, mobile.
Although one good thing that I saw in the Plumber 2 talk at the Posit conference, they mentioned that now you can have multiple Shiny apps using Plumber 2. So with the same base URL, you can deploy multiple Shiny apps. And the, because it is also a API, you can actually get all the functionality of the API as well as Shiny apps. So if your functionality is all described using the API instead of your functions inside Shiny app, then you can basically call the API every time you have any changes to data or any changes in the ggplot2. You can use Plumber for that, a Plumber 2 now, and basically just call different versions of the app to open it, to call the data. But the functionality, the business logic remains the same, only the user interface would change. So I think it is useful if your app is a bit complicated and you need multiple user interfaces.
Yeah, yeah, great. That's good to know. I know that Mirai, is changing the word for R.
Yeah,
Basically, many
it's
things that didn't wasn't possible now are possible. We have been having really good development these few years, like
yeah.
Mirai. Of course, we have good support for Chinese ads, and we have Elmer. We have NCP. I haven't tried anything with NCP, uh, but we have some package for supporting that. But I think yeah, we have. R is a place. It's a language that have so many options that it's really hard for us to see. Oh, I would need to pick Python for making another thing.